What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 2 of the PC build process. On today's video, we're going to be connecting all the wires and starting up the system. Cross our fingers that it starts. I'm not too worried about it. Worst case, we will figure it out. Also, any fellow gamers out there, make sure to follow my Twitch. It's JodaJoda_STI. We'll be putting this computer to the test for streaming and just some high quality gameplay. Well, with that said, let's jump right into it. So it may look nice from here. What are those? We gotta do some cable management. We gotta connect everything. This is the final stretch. Gotta try to make it as neat as possible. Hopefully I don't forget connecting anything. And in case I forgot to mention, guys, all you need is a Phillips screwdriver to put together a PC. I just have different size Phillips, but they're all Phillips. All right, so let's start with connecting some cables. First, this right here, it's already connected to, this is the RGB light. This is a controller that came with the case. So this is an RGB light that's right here. There's a strip and a strip back here. So those two are connected together and they're connecting right in here. So these three up here are the 3 fans that are in the front here. Okay, so after looking at the instructions, these are coming from the controller. They're just adapters that are converting 1 cable into 3 each. So we have like a total of 9. So these extra connections here are coming from the cable, the controller, the NZXT controller that's installed right here. So I'm going to install, this is one of them, one of the fans for the radiator. I'll install this one down here on one of these connectors. All right, guys, so it's gonna get messy here. So this is coming from the controller, from the case. Now this is a SATA, so this needs SATA power, which is going to be this cable, which is coming from the power supply. All right, so that's connected to power. Now the other part has to go to the motherboard so it can be controlled. And it has a little sticker right here. I don't know if you could see it, but it actually says must connect to motherboard. While this sticker on this cable right here, might be hard to see, says must connect to power supply. So that's connected to power supply now. This is going to go to the motherboard and it goes to a USB. These two right here, 1, 2, those are for USB connections. It says it on the bottom of the motherboard. I can't quite get the camera there, so you're gonna have to trust me. But you wanna connect that cable to the USB, one of those slots. And I'm going to run it from down here. All right, so as you can see, I plugged it in down there. So next we're gonna connect this big guy right here. This is a 24-pin connector coming from the power supply. We're gonna route it right through here, and it's gonna connect right to the motherboard. That's gonna send all the power to the motherboard. Alright, so there it is, the 24-pin connectors connected to the motherboard. So here, you can kind of route it, they guide you, there's some guides right here. And they have some Velcro here, which I'm using to go ahead and tighten it down, like so. Oh my god, the rain's sideways, it's literally hitting the door. Alright, so ran into a little situation here. So I have the 8-pin connector up there for the CPU, but as you can see, it's 8 and then another 4. So it's a total of 12 pins. Now what you can do is just use the 8 by itself. That's what most CPUs use. Now for extreme overclocking, you could connect another 4 there. Now that's why we have this extra cable here. We can connect to the back of the power supply. It's the same cable as that one. And the end split here, so you would use these 4 and let the other 4 dangle. So I think I'm gonna do it just in case I feel like overclocking in the future and needing extra power, so I don't have to go in there and install this again. While I'm here, I'm just gonna do it. All right, so there it is. I have the 8-pin connected there and the 4-pin there, and I just pass it through the top of the motherboard. Now on this side, I have one of the cables routing down here and the other one over here, both going to the power supply there. I have it loose right now because I keep taking it out and having to add wires, adjust wires, so I'm not tightening it up yet. Alright, so next we're going to connect the graphics card. Now as you can tell here, it's 16 pin. So here is the PCIe, which is going to be these 8 and these 8. So I'm going to use all of them to connect it, and I'm just going to route it around here somewhere. So next we're going to connect the inputs and outputs from up here. So these are the cables that came with the case. They came already connected to that, but we have to connect them to the motherboard. So first we're going to start with the audio cable, this HD audio. We're going to route this through, and that's going to connect on the bottom left here The pin lines up exactly like that pin. It's a bit hard to see, it's on the bottom left, but it's called the AAFP. So it's gonna connect right there, and there's only one way to connect it because there's one pin that's missing, so you gotta make it fit the only way it can fit. Now we have the USB 3, which is this cable here, and we're gonna connect it right into this pin right here. It says USB on the bottom, you probably can't see it from here, but it's the only one that fits that. There's no other size over here that's the same as that one, and the pin numbers, the amount of pins, and you see how this pin right here is missing, so it's missing over there too, so just kind of line them up. And that's for these USB ports here. There we go, that one's connected there. Now the next one that came with the case is this F panel, which is the front panel. We're going to be connecting this one on the motherboard on the bottom right there where it says front panel. Alright, so now we have two cables left that are coming from the liquid cooler. This one's the USB, so we can control the color and everything on the cooler. And then this one's the power. So let's connect this one right now. So I went ahead and connected it to the SATA power. So this is the SATA power that was for the controller. This is SATA power for the liquid cooler, and now I'm gonna have an extra one. I'm gonna connect an SSD to this one. I may need another one because I have a hard drive also I'm gonna be throwing in here. Some older ones that I had to put them to use. Okay, so other than that, this is the USB we gotta connect to the motherboard on the bottom here. All right, so there it is connected to the other USB right here. So the AIO pump is the last thing we have to connect, and you can't see it right now because I have all the cables up there, but there's 3 connections up there. It's the far left one. Now I had to look at the owner's manual, or the user manual, to double check. It says AIO pump on the left there. Well, up on the center, but the left side. Alright guys, so here it is, all finished up. I haven't put the panels on yet because I want to test it out, make sure everything's good before I button everything up. Alright, so this back here is a different story. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just going to shove all this in there. Nobody's going to see it anyway. There's going to be a panel back here. So the front is more important, but I'm not going to clean it up yet. I need to make sure this works, so I'm going to go ahead, plug it in, moment of truth. Once everything is up and running, then I'll put all the panels back on and clean this up a little bit. So I almost forgot, this SSD has Windows on it. This is off my old computer. And I'm gonna mount it right here. So I'm gonna take this bracket off, mount this to the bracket and put it on, and plug this in, and then we should be able to start it up. And I almost left out one more cable right here. I think I'm getting tired. I should probably take a break and finish tomorrow, but I'm so close to the finish line. So I'm gonna go ahead and connect that right here. It says U3-1G2_2. All right, so that little sneaky guy was the USB 3.1 Gen 2. And that is now connected right there. All right, so now that the SSD is there, I just got to connect the SATA power and then a data cable to go from here to the motherboard. And the same with this. Here's the hard drive. I have an old hard drive disk that I'm going to put there, and I'm just going to screw in 2 screws, one on each side to hold it in place so it doesn't move around in there. And the screws came with the case, of course. And should be it. So let me get that in. All right, so now the SSD is connected. We have the SATA power and data right now. That's connected to the motherboard. Now it's really weird to get to. I recommend plugging these in before you do the graphics card because it's such a tight fit. It's right behind the graphics card. Very pain to plug in from here, but it's still doable, but it's just easier from the other way. And now my hard drive, I had it down here, but I couldn't connect these cables. As you can see, the cable's going down, unless you have a different type that comes straight in from behind here. So I moved the hard drive to the top slot, put in 2 screws on this side. It's enough to hold it in place. It's not wiggling or anything. And I connected the SATA power and data. All right, guys, well, this is the moment of truth. We're gonna see if it turns on. Cross my fingers, you're gonna get an authentic reaction right here. Let's hope for the best. We're gonna turn on the power switch. Remember that part. One thing happened right now. The LED on the motherboard lit up, the start button. That's a good sign. You see the LEDs in the motherboard lighting up. That start button on the top right there is lit up. The controller's lit up. Looks like some lights back there are going off. So that's a good sign so far. I'm so scared. It's like I'd rather not do it and not know, you know? Should I just do that? Should I just end it here? Maybe next video, I'll let you guys know what happened. That way you have to watch the next video, right? Well, thank you guys so much for watching. No, let's go. So one thing I forgot to do was connect the Wi-Fi antenna to the back of the computer right over here. Somewhere right here. Those two. Pretty simple, just like any other antenna. Alright guys, well, here we go. Alright, do I have everything connected? Everything's connected? That, this, that. Has to be it, right? Has to be it. Okay, that's not good. Oh, what the? Alright. It turned on, it turned off. And now it just turned off again. What does that mean? I don't see anything on my screen yet. So far, all 6 of my fans are running. You can see the cooler's lit up. Graphics card's lit up. Motherboard's on. I don't have any display yet. Let me try going through the inputs. Well, looks like I gotta research, see what's going on. Alright guys, so for whatever reason, it wasn't working with my graphics card in there. Took it out. Shout out Sage Computers for helping me out, giving me advice, walking me through this. Took out the graphics card. Now I'm at the BIOS screen, so I'm going to try to boot it up from my SSD, which has Windows. Go through all that and figure out why the graphics card wasn't working. Maybe I didn't push it in all the way tight. Then I ran into another issue where the AIO, I connected it to the AIO pin, but for whatever reason you need, I guess, something connected into the CPU fan pin. So I ended up disconnecting it from the AIO pin and connected it into the CPU fan pin, and the error went away. And there was one more error at the BIOS. It wasn't finding my bootable drives. So I had to go into the BIOS and change a setting, and I'll show you that right now. So here's the setting I had to change. I went to the boot and then launch CSM. So apparently, I guess since I already had Windows on my hard drive, it just wasn't recognizing it, so I had to change the boot device control to UEFI and legacy to, I guess, search for both of those. So now it's recognizing the bootable drive and booting there, and everything's working now. So I went ahead, installed the graphics card, and now it works. Everything's fine. I think the issue was, since I didn't have a display, or maybe the boot drive wasn't bootable, that whole thing, or the CPU fan, something was causing this. There was actually nothing wrong with the graphics card. But yeah, it's back in. Everything's running smooth now, so just got to button it all up. And that's it. Alright, so now that I fixed those issues, let's go ahead and start it up again and see what happens. Started it right up. Alright. Starting up. Let's see if it goes right into Windows. And now it's starting up. It is asking me to activate Windows, so I have to go to settings and activate it, which is weird because it was already activated on the hard drive, but I guess since it's a completely new computer, it recognizes that, and it's having me activate Windows. So let me go ahead and do that. I'll enter the product key. Well, after a few hiccups, the PC is running smooth now. One thing I did forget to mention is that the hardest part, I think, of building a PC is making sure that everything's compatible with each other. Just doing that research and making sure that you have the right components. I feel like that could be a big headache. It could be very overwhelming to people, but if you just keep doing research, educating yourself on it, it isn't that bad. Well guys, I'm about to hop on Twitch and play some games. Once again, follow me on Twitch. It's JodaJoda_STI if you guys want to hop on some games or just come hang out. Also, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and see you guys on the next one. Thanks.